Welcome, everyone, to the Chicagoland Speedway, where we're awaiting a major announcement from the defending champion of this race, Tony Stewart. He is expected to announce in a matter of a couple of minutes that he will leave Joe Gibbs Racing, the team where he won 2 championships, and move over as an owner and driver at Haas Racing. Hello, everybody. I'm John Roberts. Thanks for being with us for this special announcement. We're interrupting the replay of the July race at Daytona. We're going to get back to that in its entirety after this announcement. But right now, let's take a look at the menu, see what's coming up today on a very rare Thursday of racing here on Speed. NASCAR live at 4:30 Eastern Time. Then we will have the Sprint Cup practice for you at 5 Eastern. Go or Go Home at 6:30 takes a look at those outside of the top 35. And then Sprint Cup qualifying wraps everything up at 8:30 Eastern Time. Let's now get you inside to the media center where Bob Dillner is standing by. And Bob, one of many significant things about this announcement, you have to say, is this basically amounts to a partnership now between Rick Hendrick Motorsports and Tony Stewart because of their connection with Haas CNC.
Exactly. It's kind of the super team if you consider that Hendrick Motorsports on the other side already has Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, Dale Earnhardt Jr. And last week at Daytona International Speedway, we also learned that Mark Martin will drive the 5 car. But you know what, a big news day here at Chicagoland Speedway just moments ago. Richard Childress, Jeff Burton announcing that Caterpillar will be on the 31 car for next year, and they unveiled that car right outside the media center here. But we are moments away from what should be a scintillating press conference here. A lot of parties involved, including Greg Zipadelli, Tony's longtime crew chief here in the Sprint Cup Series. So a lot of players involved here today, and we all know the history of Tony Stewart. Came in here in 1999, was the 1999 Cup Rookie of the Year. He's won 2 championships, 32 victories, 199 top 10 finishes. That's a pretty remarkable mark for him in Cup competition. Certainly one of the top 50 drivers ever in NASCAR competition. There are some of his highlights out of his racing career. As I said, 2 Cup championships, the 1997 Indy Racing League Series champion. Such a decorated career for Tony Stewart. Nobody thought this day would actually come, John. Everybody thought he would be a lifer at Joe Gibbs Racing. But think about this. Tony has an opportunity to become a part owner, and that's what's significant here, Johnny.
Probably 2 big things about this announcement, Bob, that makes it happen this week. And we had heard that it was going to be announced at Indy, but this thing moved up probably because everybody knows about what was going on, that it wasn't a very well-kept secret. But also, you got to get a lot of stuff in place by the time they're ready to go. Yeah, they've been working on that already, and actually the press conference about to begin. You see Joe Custer up there on stage with Tony Stewart. Mike Arning, the press director for Tony Stewart, will be beginning this press conference actually right now.
Welcome you to today's event, and we certainly appreciate you being here. A couple housekeeping items. This is being carried live on Speed. It's also being streamed live on video on NASCARmedia.com, and these guys will be available for questions for as long as you have them, or up until Tony needs to leave for Nationwide Series practice at 2:15 today. So with little ado, we'll get started. Obviously, a big day yesterday when it was announced that Tony Stewart and Joe Gibbs Racing will part ways following the 2008 season. Joe, this is a big day for you. Joe Custer, General Manager of Haas CNC Racing. Tony, another big day for you. And to start it off right, I believe there's something to unveil just to the left of you. Why don't we go ahead and do that? Like we always said from the get-go, and what Tony reiterated many times, when we had something to announce, we'd announce it. That day has come, and Tony, talk a little bit about why we're here today.
I thought when we got in here there was really a cool menu for the buffet today. I've never seen this many media people in here before, but you know, obviously this is a huge day for me. It's you know, this is a huge turning point in my career, obviously, but I'm very proud today to be here and announce that myself and Joe Custer have with the Haas CNC team have merged and now have formed Stewart-Haas Racing. That's where I'll be next year, and hopefully for the rest of my life and my career in NASCAR racing. It was a huge decision-making process, obviously, something that was not made overnight. And every week, like we told you guys, this was a long process. You know, This was not something that was easy by any means, and we did weigh our options heavily as far as what was available out there, what our options were, and the opportunity to have ownership in a race team was something that was, in my opinion, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I don't think an offer like this has ever been made in this series to a driver, and I don't know that an offer of this magnitude will be offered in the next year or two or down the road even, but very honored that Joe and his organization have welcomed me aboard, not only as a driver but as an owner, and really excited about our future at Stewart-Haas Racing.
Thanks, Tony. Joe, big step for your organization. Talk a little bit about how this day came to be.
Well, it's an unbelievable day for our organization and the Haas Automation folks and the Worldwide Dealership Network. We've been in the sport for a number of years building what we feel like is the nucleus of a winning organization, but quite frankly, we haven't finished that journey. And being able to work together and put a deal like this together is a dream come true for the Haas organization, and we welcome Tony. We welcome his talent, his leadership, his passion, everything that he brings to this sport. I think this is a great day for NASCAR, a great day for his fans and our fans, and we look to not only win races but really enjoy it in the years to come.
And we'll go ahead and open it up to questions now. Again, because we are being carried live by a number of outlets, you can state your name and affiliation as well. And I know there are some folks here at Chicagoland Speedway who will have a mic, so if you wait on the mic.
Spencer, Fox Sports. Joe, can you talk a little bit? You said passion. That's a key word with Tony and racing. The two are almost synonymous. Can you talk about having somebody like that come over and what that brings to the organization?
Well, I keep using the word franchise player. I don't know if it's wore out in the sports world, but there's just a few people, whether it's a Wayne Gretzky or just people in a sport that influence, and you can't put your finger on it. The fans put their finger on it. That's who puts their finger on it. And we believe that Tony Stewart is that person. And why? Because the fans believe that. And so how does that affect our organization? Top to bottom. Top to bottom. It affects obviously our people, how they view coming to the track. They knew about this press conference, and loading on the plane today was a different, exciting feeling at Haas. And the owners, Haas Automation, and all the folks back in California building machine tools, it affects them. So I think going forward, I'm not sure I realize how much this will change our organization, but I'm ready for it.
Right here in the front.
Coming July 21st, it's an all-new episode of 101 Cars You Must Drive with the super sporty and super fast.
No tickets for me.
101 Cars You Must Drive with Alonzo Bowden, July 21st, 9 Eastern, only on Speed.
Ladies and gentlemen, we want to apologize for some technical problems we're having with the Tony Stewart press conference. But in a nutshell, Tony Stewart will leave Joe Gibbs Racing as a driver at the end of this year, but he will join Joe Gibbs in the ranks of NASCAR owners as part of the Haas CNC Motorsports team, which is now Stewart-Haas. Let's listen into what Tony has to say.
Send that money out of their pockets where we can make it pay for itself. So, that was something that I don't think, like I said, has ever been offered. I don't think any driver's ever been offered 50% equity in an organization, and that made this such an appealing offer.
Claire B. Langen.
Claire B. Lang, XM Satellite Radio. Two quick questions. The first is, will you be announcing another driver soon? There's a lot of chat about that and who that might be. And second, there's also a lot of chat about you having been ill last week and people tying it or not tying it, basically the fans. And so I wonder, how are you feeling? Did you get to the bottom of what was making you ill? And then do you have another announcement coming up soon that people might expect as to who the driver might be that drives with you?
We hope so. I mean, obviously, we would like to announce this sooner than later. As far as being sick, I can't pick when and where I'm going to be sick and where I'm not going to be sick. Trust me, I've felt like a pincushion this week with needles in my arms, so I've not enjoyed that part. I do feel better. I started feeling better Tuesday evening, and had to miss an event at Eldora Speedway, which I've been looking forward to for a long time, and running my 360 wing sprint car there, and didn't get a chance to do that. And I only get a chance to do that once a year, so was not an opportune week to be sick by any means. But I do feel better. As far as drivers are concerned, we're obviously looking just like any other car owner does now, and looking at who's available, where are they at in their stages of their contracts, who's available, who's not available, who's interested, and who's not. So, it's kind of the same process that I'm used to doing with our World of Outlaw teams and USAC teams, and Joe and I will work together to try to secure a driver as soon as possible, and hopefully not only a driver but sponsors will be able to announce hopefully soon.
Jerry Bonkowski, Yahoo Sports. Tony, in the way this whole thing evolved, prior to the connection with Haas CNC, had there been an option for you to perhaps buy into JGR? Because we've seen guys like Rusty Wallace, he got a quarter Penske Racing. We saw Jeff Gordon, he owns Jimmy Johnson's car. Had that been an opportunity originally for you, or was that inability to do that what led you to this?
No, it wasn't offered. I mean, JGR is a family business, and I respect them for that. I don't think you can ask a family business to give away part of their race team, but it wasn't offered. That didn't turn me away from Joe Gibbs Racing by any means. This was just a unique offer. I mean, like I said, I don't know that I've ever heard of any driver offers that have had this involved in it. So that's just what made this a very appealing offer.
Bob Margolis with Yahoo Sports, a double team by Yahoo here. Tony, can you talk about how much it weighed on your decision to make this a part of your legacy? You've already got a strong legacy going in the sport, but how important was it to continue and help build NASCAR and help make the sport even better like you've done with open wheel racing?
I think as time has gone on and I've got a little bit older here, you start realizing the importance of history and what values are important to you, and the thought of being another Richard Childress or a Richard Petty or a Rick Hendrick, somebody who's driven in this sport, and now in some cases their legacy is bigger than when they were drivers here. That opportunity to do this in this sport was very important to me. I look back, and I know I keep mentioning our open wheel teams, but that's really where the foundation of this all started in my head. And I look at where we are this year. I mean, this past week we were leading all three national divisions, and it's the first time in USAC's history that any one organization has led all three national divisions in the point standings. And I looked at that and thought that's something that's never been done in the sport, and to be a part of that and to have my name on that organization that's doing that is something that I'm very proud of, and to have opportunities to put my name in the record books as a car owner now is something that I'm excited about. I mean, this is something that I know what it feels like to win as a driver, but I know after winning the Chili Bowl in 2005 what it feels like, or 2006 what it's like to win as an owner, and or I guess it was 2007. But to sit there in winner's circle and climb out of the car that I know I had a part in building that team, I mean, that was a feeling that I'd never had before, and to have that opportunity to do that here with Haas CNC Racing, and now forming this new entity is something that I'm excited about having that opportunity. I'm excited about the fact that I feel like we could go to Daytona and we have the opportunity to go there and win the Daytona 500 and stand there and climb out of my own car with my own guys and my own operation and be there as champions that way. So that's an aspect that I'm hopefully going to get a chance to experience that and enjoy that.
From NASCAR scene. Your name's on top of this deal. Will you be calling the shots? Will you be bringing in your own people at all? How will the structure of the organization be?
Well, we're 50-50 in the entity, so I mean we'll work together. It's not about to me it's not important who ranks where. It's not a ranking issue. It's a matter of goal issues and what our goals are, and sitting down and working together. The one thing I think I've learned from Joe Gibbs Racing is that it takes people to win, and people, it's not equipment that wins races, it's people that win races. And we're going to assemble a strong group of core people that we feel like will work together, not somebody over top of anybody else. It just made the logo look really good. That's how it got stacked up that way. So, it wasn't really an ego issue by any means. So, but you know, we'll have a good group of people. It's not a matter of really who's calling the shots. It's you know, you hire the right people to do the right jobs. So, you know, my strength's going to be hopefully taking the knowledge I've learned from Joe Gibbs over the last 10 years and hiring the right people to be in the right positions, and then let them do their jobs. My job on the weekend is going to be drive the race car. And, you know, if we get the right people, then you don't have to worry about who's calling the shots here and there. I mean, you've got those people in place to do it for you.
So Haas Racing becomes Stewart-Haas Racing. The two-time champion Tony Stewart will now own his own race team after more than a decade with Joe Gibbs Racing. So the champion is going over to his own team, but of course after this season, and he is the defending champion of this race here in Chicagoland. Now more of the Coke Zero 400.